road, everything is ongoing. What are we going to cry for again? Come 2027, by the grace of God, it's already settled in Edo. The message of Renew Hope, take it to the grassroots. Let everybody know about Renew Hope. When we are eating, it's Renew Hope. When we are drinking water, it's Renew Hope. In church, Renew Hope. So we are also going to have our religious Renew Hope group. We will not leave any stone unturned. We must deliver according to our promise.
Nuisance, Lily.
You know something, right? They're actually doing what they know how to do best. Politicians doing what they can to canvass for vote and buy the ones they can buy, use every tool in their own toolbox to keep power. But they just don't do it alone. People who would join you and lament about the situation in the country, how these criminal politicians have been so heartless in their dealings and all that, are the same people that are going to gather together and do all this groundwork for them. Politicians don't go out and rig themselves, no. They still have to use the same people that you and I still live with or mingle with every now and then. And the poverty capital of the world like that, you have them in abundance. They're always there, available to be used. So with money, then they have all this, what they call the structure, where they can infiltrate every sector. Your office, your public transportation, your mosque, your church, your women association, your, what do you call it, estate association, and all of those kind of associations, they will infiltrate them with people like that who are always going to come around and try to convince you, try to convince you, to make you see that things could have been worse. Because if anybody said that a day will come that Nigerian naira will get to 2,000 naira to £1, it's this kind of people that will tell you that it is impossible. But now that you are there, they just wanted to appreciate that it could have been worse. So just appreciate that what they have given to you is the best they could give, the best you can make do with. So anything outside that is just you living like on imagination, according to them. So they have to frame what they think you deserve based on what they have to offer you. This is the mediocre or the mediocrity called leadership. Anyway, 2.5 million or 3.9 million, right? That would be up to the Edo people. And there are hundreds of thousands of them who are indeed going to help them do the multiplication and all that. Others will tell you, you know, they can't get anything like that for Tinubu in Edo, but time will tell if you have an election. On the other side, the opposition continue to experience several sort of like disorganization, those coming from the personal ambitions of some of them, and others coming from the judiciary. Take, for instance, that of the PDP. PDP held their convention last year, November, 2 months ago, thereabout. So where they, after months of leadership tussle, battle, this and that, in and out of court, so they finally had one. And not without different court cases, injunctions, ex parte orders, all those jargons. So they had one, then they announced their new leadership, who also sacked Wike and others from the PDP. But somehow, their announcement seemed not to be of any effect. With Wike right now officially has no party, but he's not accepting that, because he's like, those who are making such, those who made the move or sacked him, they do not even have the power to sack me. Now, a court yesterday in Ibadan announced that the PDP convention, Federal Court in Ibadan said PDP convention, which they chose their leaders, right, in Ibadan, is invalid or it's null and void, something like that, like it shouldn't have been held. So PDP should put together a caretaker now that will then see the party until they organize another convention. And by the PDP constitution, as they say, there is no place for caretaker. By one of these, their court orders as well, political parties can't just put in caretakers in that sense. So now, PDP seem to be back to square zero. Yeah, they are back to court. They are back in court saying that they are going to fight it in court. And it's just like doing the same thing again and again. Okay, so they are going to fight it in court, and then they won't be probably, or by the time, I want to say that they won't be part of the formidable group to say they want to challenge Tinubu in 2027. So wicked. Or by the time the court is going to finally say, okay, yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, you are fine now. You're fine, legit. It will have been so close to their elections that again, maybe they will run into another trouble choosing candidate for their party. So PDP is done for in that sense. But that is not what their chairman, Turaki, the guy that is now about to be changed, or the guy that has been sacked by their court. This is what they have to say.
But in the matter that was decided this morning in Baden, we went to court and we asked for an order of mandamus, just like I've stated. And there are some persons applied to be joined, and they were joined, and there was no counterclaim. There was no other press before the court, and the court, as it were, went beyond the boundary of the issues that were before the court, and like Father Christmas, awarded to litigants reliefs which were not claimed before that court. It's a fundamental principle of law that the courts, our courts, are not charitable institutions. They do not give unto individual litigants what they have not asked for. Even if you ask for it, you have to prove your entitlement to it before you get it. So we have appealed. Now, am I concerned that these appeals have not been heard? I am not concerned as a lawyer. Now, there are processes that are usually done before an appeal matures for hearing. And these processes are, each party will be given an opportunity of a fair hearing. And that fair hearing means that parties will now file all their briefs within the time stipulated by law. Now, counsel on both sides in this matter have done something that is worthy of praise, because counsel, even without an order by court, were able to now compound the time within which they are supposed to file their briefs, and did so commendably timeously. But when you file processes, there are usually sometimes arises the need for replies to be made by the parties. And these replies will also be filed. But I want to say that both counsel on both sides have done what is worthy of commendation, and all briefs in these matters are now in the court's files. But I am aware that there are a lot of appeals that have matured for hearing in the Abuja division. And I understand that the court is desirous of doing the kind of Marshall Plan they did for Lagos division. Because in Lagos division, there were more than 500 appeals that were arrived for hearing, and then the court had sought to create about 11, 12 panels that sat and were able to dispose of all of them. In Abuja division, I'm aware also that there are more than 400 appeals that are ripe for hearing. So we are praying that the management of the Court of Appeal and leadership in their wisdom will also create that Marshall Plan for the Abuja division, and then set up special panels that will hear all these appeals. If that is done, I am hopeful that our case, being a political case, is one of the cases that will take priority. So very soon, in the nearest future, I'm sure the Court of Appeal will set up a panel that will hear and determine all these appeals. One of the things we do pray probably should be done by that court will be the consolidation of all these appeals, so that there will be one single judgment that will now be binding on all the parties. If you also look at some of these cases, you could see that most of them are somewhat interconnected in their roots, so that the basis of one ultimately is also the basis of the others. So a determination of the key issues in this appeal will determine all these appeals and will also bring to rest all other matters that are pending in various courts in Nigeria. So we're hopeful. I'm not concerned that the matters have not been heard. I'm hopeful that very soon the Court of Appeal will set up a panel to hear all these appeals.
You won't need a car to travel. You won't need an aeroplane to travel. You will just say, I want to go to London. And you'll be in London. Either you believe it or not.
They won't need a plane to travel. They won't need a car to travel. Do you even listening to this, their chairman of PDP and all he said, at some point you probably will be asking yourself, what's he talking about? Like, what's he trying to say? I will help you. But listening to him, is it not clear, right, that the wahala they are in, they are not coming out? Not until maybe after 2027, because it is deliberate. They have weakest group, another group, and this guy's group, Turaki. They all have different cases in different courts all over Nigeria. And that is intentional, because there is no effort to harmonize them, resolve their issue. No. The plan is never to resolve the issue, ever. Because if they should resolve, weakest relevance, weakest usefulness in the hands of Tinubu is probably going to win down so much, all right? So, as they are hopping out of one legal case, another one is cooking, maturing. As they jump into that again. As they are coming out of that one, another one is already maturing. So it's going to be from one case to the other, because it is with a wiki, is a lifetime, or would they call them the member of the bench, a life bencher, which means with a wiki that you are looking at, if he chooses not to be a politician, do you know that with a wiki could have been a judge? Yeah, it could have been a judge. And that is why being a politician, understanding the usefulness of the compromised judiciary to do all your battle in this sense is one unique gift that only a corrupt system like that of Nigeria could really entertain, unfortunately. So PDP is not coming out. It is not going to happen. And they have election next year. They are not even talking about their party primaries, because who is going to conduct that? Who are the executive legally that is going to be able to say, okay, we are now the one in charge of PDP? It's not going to happen. But here is their spokesperson. Yeah.
Well, it only shows the wisdom that my Lord used in arriving at that, because I'm sure that my Lord cannot point to the constitution of the party anywhere where there is a national caretaker. But again, I have tremendous respect for the court, and which is why the court should stay away from the internal affairs of the party so that they don't become politicians. But you do know that perception and reality may have divergence, but when they converge to the extent that people lose faith in a process, when the CJ of the Federal High Court pays a courtesy call on the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and trembles in front of that person, and you now see a streak of judgments. I'm not saying anything, but I'm simply saying that you find a situation where the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court goes to beg the Minister of the FCT for land and houses for judges of the Federal High Court. I'm not saying anything, but I'm simply saying perception.
That's a very strong allegation, and I doubt
no,
that.
But
I wonder if you
it's
have
public. It was public. I will send you the video. The courtesy call was public. And the minister was even saying, oh, how many of you are there across different jurisdictions? Oh, we'll start with the senior judges or the younger judges and all of that. So what perception do you and this is the same CJ that we have written to say that there are particular judges that we have seen a history that any case where some people are part of, that these cases go the other way. And incidentally, all these cases go to those people. We are not accusing them, but we are simply saying perception. Because it is a fundamental issue in law that justice must not just be done, it must be seen to be done. And so for me as a lawyer, when I look at the things that are happening, and I see, the other day during the Daily Trust dialogue, Honorable Uchenna read a report where the confidence in the judiciary is below 20%. Inyemebong didn't say that. PDP didn't say that. It's a survey that was conducted. So when we lose faith in the judiciary, when we lose faith in INEC, remember, the First and Second Republics collapsed because of the collapse of national institutions. The INEC courts were still sitting when those republics collapsed. And so all we are saying is that the judicialization of politics is wrong. And if the Supreme Court has said for the umpteenth time that the matter of political parties is non-justiciable, people should stay away from it so that they don't become politicians in the process.
Yeah, but you are still going to court, and you are still going to court to seek what you say is justice. I mean, you've appealed the nullification of the Ibadan National Convention. You're still relying on the court.
Because that's all we can do.
Right. So now, on the issues raised,
it is all we can do, because we believe in democracy.
And it is true, the Supreme Court actually ruled that the judiciary, the judges, okay, they should stay away from the cases that involves asking courts to determine how political parties should be organized, or how you know what I mean? Like, it is not the business of the court to tell the political party how to choose their leadership or what to do in their party and the rest of that. You know? But they are back in court, and they're going to end up in that Supreme Court that is likely going to maybe rule differently this time and say, you know what? Yeah, we'll now kind of decide for you. It's crazy. System that works like that, right? Is Nigeria courts. One person that takes us into their courtroom most of the time to show to us the banality and the crudity, and some points, you know, the unseriousness of the Nigerian courtroom, where you have judges conducting, and you know what I mean, it's Omoyele Shore, or where judges have been mostly, you know, disrespected by the other government agencies like the DSS and others, okay? So it's Shore. But this time, it is not about the judge, or it's not about the court. It is what happened inside the courtroom with a DSS witness. You know, they are charging Shore for defamation, as well as, you know, the ability to cause disruption, national crisis, something like that. You know, they said the way he's been criticizing calling him criminal, right? They said this could trigger the supporters of a Kolu to start a national crisis if Shore is not stopped. And Shore was like, okay. It was his turn to defend why he called Tinubu a criminal. He's not relying on his own, you know, on his own words or his own evidence per se, other than somebody that openly, all over the place, called Tinubu international drug dealer, and today is an ambassador. So you, DSS, you said because I called Tinubu is a criminal, and that automatically is something that requires you to protect Nigeria from my speech. Here is somebody who called Tinubu drug dealer, and today your agency purportedly screened him, and you never asked them to give you evidence of why Tinubu is a drug baron or drug dealer, international drug dealer. So that's, you know, that exchanges actually took place in their courtroom, and it was captured on camera. So I said I would share it with you. She already told us about it, right? But this time, you actually have to see it, how it played out. Let's go to their courtroom.
No, you are a thief. But all that little is a non-drug law. It's not an unprintable one. I've got facts to back it up. You know, I've got documents to back it up. I spent my money. I went to Chicago. I went to the courts. I got the certified two copies. All that is a drug law. That is.
You work in the media DSS. Is that correct?
No, my lord. I work in the cyberspace monitoring unit.
Are you aware that the